Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Bettors backing Fever Clark to win WNBA Finals after a huge off-season. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. So this is from ESPN Bet. But you know what? I checked FanDuel, and basically the same thing. So this is kind of wild when you see these numbers, man. This is really kind of wild. It shows you how high fans are, 'cause I'm sure you got a lot of fans that are swaying this. I mean, you've got your bettors in here as well, but I'm sure you got a lot of fans who are just like, you know what, I'm gonna put $50 or I'm gonna put $100. I'm gonna put it down on the Fever. Well, I'm gonna look at it as lost money, and hey, if I win, I win. We'll see what happens. But ever since she burst onto the WNBA scene in 2024, after her paradigm shifting, wow, somebody got the thesaurus out, college career, Caitlin Clark has been at the center of the professional women's basketball world, attracting massive viewership and putting the league into the mainstream sports spotlight. Wow. Yeah. I mean, okay. We're going to go all positive on Caitlin Clark with an I guess this is ESPN Bet, maybe technically. So maybe that's a little different. They can't hide it if they're going to be like, hey, look how great the odds are on Caitlin Clark. But I'd even say center of the professional women's sporting world so much as basketball. But anyway, 2025 could be different. Was saying the Fever weren't ready to compete for a championship last year. During a free agency full of headline-grabbing transactions, the Fever made some of the biggest splashes of the offseason. DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, among others, right? Sydney Colson, Brianne Turner, the past two rookies of the year. That's right, Clark and Boston teaming up. The Fever are now, get this, plus 350 to win the WNBA Finals at ESPN Bet, tied for second with the Las Vegas Aces and trailing only the reigning champion New York Liberty at plus 230. Now, a lot of people are like, ESPN Bet, but I checked FanDuel, same numbers, folks, same numbers. New York Liberty at plus 230, and then the Aces and the Fever at plus 350. The Lynx right behind at plus 360, and then it's a huge drop off to the Phoenix Mercury at plus 1200. So yeah, so you know how you get that, folks. You know what's moving that? That is money. That is money to the point where you've got to see where. Let me get this. Check this out. The hype as bettors barking, backing, barking. Yeah, they're barking too, right? Like Shanae said, they're up in everyone's business. They're barking, those Fever fans. And mass and sportsbooks sweating massive liability. You got ESPN Bet, BetMGM, DraftKings, all report huge, huge handle on Indiana to win the finals, with the latter reporting, DraftKings reporting the highest money share at an astounding 86%. That is absolutely insane. FanDuel Senior Vice President, General Manager Carol Corcoran. Oh, that's a C. Corcoran. That makes it a lot easier. At first glance, I thought it was an E. My bad, Carol. Told ESPN over email that the Fever have more than 7 times the number of bets to win this year's championship compared to the next team. 7 times. That means every bet placed somewhere else, 7 bets go to the Indiana Fever. 7-1, 70-10, 700-100. That is absolutely wild. So that's 70,000 to 10,000, 700,000 bets to 100,000 bets. That is absolutely crazy that kind of money is going to the Indiana Fever. The Fever have been immensely popular since we posted futures markets and are our biggest liability by a wide margin. The Sportsbook North American Sports Trading Director, Adrian Horton, said over email, bettors seem to have high expectations ahead of Caitlin Clark's second year. So that is wild. So, that's why the numbers are moving, because the sports books do not want to go out of business. Again, I do think that a lot of money, this is just a guess. I'm just saying from what I've seen around the WNBA that, again, like I said a minute or two ago, you probably get a lot of Fever fans who are putting money on the Fever just because they're Fever fans. They're excited about the changes the team made. They're excited about what could happen this season. And they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to put some money down on them. Why not? As opposed to what professional bettors do. But like here, as we say, we're talking about DraftKings Sportsbook Director Johnny Avello talking to ESPN. The Liberty, Aces, and Lynx didn't do a whole lot to help themselves, but they still have the key players. When you're making these odds as an odds maker, you have to make sure you balance out your whole percentage. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. The overall landscape of the 2025 WNBA title race is expected to be more competitive than it has been in the past, says Horton, who added that the combined implied probability of the top two teams winning the title in 2025 is much lower than it was in 2024. And there were a lot of changes in the movements, right? There was a lot of change this year with some bigger names. We had talked about the Los Angeles Sparks, who got Kelsey Plum in the three-team deal. They're expecting 2024 number 2 Cameron Brink back, right? They've got Rickea Jackson. So, I think there's been a lot of movement on them. I don't see the Los Angeles Sparks down at the bottom this year, but you never know. And then the Atlanta Dream, they weren't, they went and signed Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones. Uh, the Aces, I don't know that the Aces are as good, but I think Chelsea Gray is going to be better than she was last season. Now coming off of that injury, like I said, serious injuries like that. I think she had the Achilles. You get ACLs. That sometimes that season that you're playing is almost like that preparing you for the next season thing, right? It's like you're back, you're playing, and then the next season is the actual recovery. So this does take a lot of action, and this is on the radar of a lot of bettors. So we certainly put more time into this now than we ever had before. That's wild. That shows you the Caitlin Clark effect, right? We start learning about teams that are better than we thought, teams that are worse than we thought. So for us, it's a constant adjustment. Yeah, absolutely. That is what sports books have to do, man. They've got to dig deep. They've got to go into the numbers. They didn't have to really worry about this too much, I don't think, with the WNBA before. But now with Caitlin Clark, they have to make sure they are on point with everything because they need that money to even out a little bit. Because if it's 7-1 going to the Fever and it gets done at odds that could look really, really bad for the sports books, and that could be a huge, huge liability for them going forward. But it's going to be interesting to see how much these odds, how these numbers move as we get forward to the season and start getting into the season, see how the Fevers start playing and see if these odds move, if money starts going other places because the odds are just so good and the Fever payout becomes less. So we'll see how that works out for them as well. What I haven't seen yet, it'll be interesting. I also, I want to see odds on things like they've got to do it right now with Caitlin Clark out there, MVP odds, first team all W odds, things like that. So I'm going to leave it there though. Appreciate you checking out this video. Let me know your thoughts on the comments below. Also in the comments below. Also, let me know as a fan if you have put any money on the Fever winning a championship this year, because I think that is the goal for them, is win it this year, because the team is going to change a lot after this season. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Really do appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.